about things we've gone through.
For years, ABBA was the symbol of joy and success. But in 1980, something changed. One emotional and heartbreaking song marked a breaking point in the band.
The loser standing small.
It was not a musical rupture, but something far more personal. Today we will discover how a real heartbreak song divided the legendary Swedish band and why almost nobody noticed it.
I was in your arms, thinking
Did you know ABBA's biggest hits hid real heartbreak? ABBA was practically unbeatable at the end of the 1970s, with Dancing Queen and Mamma Mia conquering the world.
Mamma Mia, here I go again, my.
The Swedish band had become a global phenomenon. Their concerts were sold out, their albums were selling millions of copies, and their music videos were events in themselves. The entire world seemed to be dancing to the rhythm of their songs. But what nobody knew was that behind that shine and contagious energy, things were not as perfect as they appeared. The marriages that had fueled the creative chemistry of the band were beginning to show deep cracks. Björn and Agnetha was married to Agnetha Fältskog, while Benny Andersson was married to Annie Frid Lyngstad. These two marriages not only nourished the personal lives of the members, but also directly influenced the creative process. As they entered the 1980s, the pressure of maintaining success, constant touring, and media exposure began to affect the personal relationships of the band members.
The winner takes it all. The losers.
The marriages that once seemed stable now faced considerable tensions. The relentless pace of work, the lack of privacy, and the emotional demands of maintaining a perfect public image started to take their toll. Björn and Agnetha, in particular, began to drift apart. What had begun as a passionate musical collaboration between a couple had become something more complicated and difficult to navigate. The chemistry that worked perfectly on stage and in the studio was not enough to sustain their personal relationship. By 1980, their marriage was deteriorating rapidly, and everyone in the band knew it. The tension was palpable, even though they tried to maintain professionalism during recordings and performances. Even behind closed doors, the band members wrestled with guilt, resentment, and the fear of losing the creative spark that had made ABBA so extraordinary. The emotional undercurrents shaped every rehearsal, every songwriting session, and every decision, casting a shadow over the polished performances that fans around the world took for granted. Despite outward appearances of success and harmony, the private turmoil was a constant, silent companion. This hidden struggle set the stage for the creation of a song that would become as legendary as it was painfully personal.
The gods make paradise.
In 1980, Björn sat down to write what would become one of the most powerful songs ever recorded by ABBA. The Winner Takes It All was not an abstract creative exercise or a traditional pop game. It was something deeply personal, an exploration of the pain of a relationship falling apart. Björn channeled his own feelings about his failing marriage into the lyrics. He wrote about defeat, about losing, about how it feels when someone leaves and you know you cannot do anything about it. The song talks about competition and how the winner takes it all, a metaphor about how in a breakup someone is always hurt while the other moves forward. What makes this song extraordinary is that Björn wrote it from his perspective of pain and rejection, but it was Agnetha who had to sing it to the world.
The judges will decide.
This meant that she had to interpret the anguish of someone whose heart was being shattered by Björn himself. Every line, every note, every pause in the song became a public declaration of private pain. The song contained lyrics about the winner taking it all and the loser standing small, about how love goes to the winner and the loser has to fall. These were not fictional emotions or theatrical expressions. Could you sing a song written about your own pain? They were real words about real heartbreak happening in real time between two people who had to continue working together as professionals. The task assigned to Agnetha was extraordinarily challenging. She not only had to sing an emotional and vulnerable song, but she had to do it knowing that this vulnerability came from the pen of her own husband, and that it was about their own relationship in crisis. Björn's lyrics were simultaneously intimate and universal, allowing listeners to feel the raw honesty of a breakup while never knowing the true identities involved. Agnetha's vocal delivery turned private anguish into a work of art. Her voice trembling yet controlled, heartbreak made melodic. Every studio take carried an unspoken tension, a blend of professional rigor and personal agony that would make the song resonate for decades. This duality of intimacy and performance elevated the track beyond conventional pop songwriting into the realm of timeless emotional expression. Here's where the story becomes truly paradoxical. The Winner Takes It All became a massive hit. It became an extraordinary commercial success, winning awards, being performed everywhere, and becoming one of the most remembered songs by the band. People all around the world resonated with the song, many of them not knowing that they were listening to a sonic document of a marriage collapsing. Fans enjoyed the song, critics praised it, and radio stations played it constantly. But almost nobody, except the band members and people close to them, seemed to notice that they were listening to something genuinely traumatic and deeply personal. The song was effective precisely because it was real, but its reality was lost in its success. When The Winner Takes It All was released, Björn and Agnetha were no longer together. Their marriage had ended, although the details of the separation were kept relatively private. The release of the song, then, was more than just a commercial single. It was a public announcement of the end of a relationship that had been fundamental to ABBA's identity. The song became a huge international hit, reaching #1 in multiple countries and becoming a classic that would endure for decades. Yet the deeper context, the real story of heartbreak and personal dissolution behind the lyrics, remained largely unspoken in mainstream discussions about the song. Irony was staggering. The world celebrated a song born from the most painful period in the band's history, unaware that its emotional core mirrored a real-life dissolution. While millions sang along and danced, the performers carried the weight of their own story, turning private heartbreak into global art. This juxtaposition between universal joy and personal despair created a haunting resonance that few pop songs ever achieve. The Winner Takes It All became a testament to the complexity of human emotion within the glossy world of mainstream music. Do you think pain makes music more powerful? The Winner Takes It All marked a turning point for ABBA, though not in ways the world immediately recognized. The song was released in 1980 as the lead single from the album Super Trooper, and it immediately demonstrated that ABBA could create mature, sophisticated pop music that appealed to adults dealing with real emotional complexity. It was different from their earlier party anthems, and it showed that the band had depth and range that extended beyond disco and dance music. Following the release of The Winner Takes It All, ABBA would only release one more studio album, The Visitors, in 1981, before essentially going into an indefinite hiatus. The band would never formally break up, but they would never record together again after that. The personal turmoil that had produced The Winner Takes It All had taken its toll on the group's ability to function as a cohesive unit. The four members could no longer sustain the emotional and creative demands of working together when their personal lives were in such disarray. What is remarkable about The Winner Takes It All is that Agnetha's vocal performance remains one of her finest achievements, even though she was singing words written by her estranged husband about the dissolution of their marriage. Her voice carries an aching quality, a fragility and honesty that gives the song its enduring power. She did not phone in a professional performance. She delivered an emotionally authentic interpretation that somehow transformed her personal pain into universal art. This is perhaps why the song resonates so deeply with audiences. It contains genuine human emotion, not manufactured sentiment designed to sell records. The legacy of this song continues to influence artists across genres. Reminding the music world that honesty and vulnerability can coexist with commercial success. It is studied, covered, and celebrated not just for its melody but for the human story woven into every note. For ABBA, it was both a farewell and a triumph, a reminder that some of the greatest art emerges from life's deepest struggles, leaving an indelible mark on listeners and history alike. The remarkable thing about The Winner Takes It All is that the world accepted it at face value as a beautiful breakup song without digging deeper into its origins. ABBA had always maintained a carefully curated public image, separating their personal lives from their professional output. The band was so successful and their music so polished that audiences simply enjoyed the song as entertainment rather than as a window into real trauma. Music critics praised the composition and Agnetha's vocal performance but rarely explored the biographical context. The band members themselves never openly discussed the personal circumstances surrounding the song's creation during interviews, preferring to let the music speak for itself. Additionally, the 1980s were a different era in terms of celebrity journalism and fan culture. Social media did not exist to fuel speculation or analysis about artists' personal lives. The story of The Winner Takes It All remained largely in the background, known mainly to those close to ABBA, while millions of listeners connected emotionally with the song without realizing they were hearing a real marriage ending transformed into art. So there we have it. The song that broke ABBA apart was also the song that proved they could create timeless art even in their darkest moments. The Winner Takes It All remains one of the greatest pop songs ever recorded, not despite its painful origins, but because of them. ABBA showed us that sometimes the most beautiful music comes from the deepest pain, And that real human emotion, when expressed with honesty and vulnerability, can touch millions of hearts around the world. The winner did take it all, but what they won was something that would last forever.